Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black entrepreneur experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Our next guest is a wife, a mom, a veteran, and CEO of Imperfect Mommers, women's fitness and athletic leisure apparel company. Welcome, Erica Davis. Thank you for serving. And I have given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you want them to know about you and your business?
Yes, thank you for having me. So, I am Erica Davis. I am originally from Charleston, South Carolina, born and raised. I went to college at Lander University in upstate South Carolina, and then I did join the military where I served 8 years. And now I live in Charlotte. I started Imperfect Mommers in 2018, and things have been going well ever since.
Tell us about why Imperfect Mommers.
Yeah, so imperfect just talks about us as women overall. A lot of times I know we try to we be hard we're hard on ourselves to be the perfect mom, the perfect wife, the perfect woman, and that's just not reality. So I wanted women to understand that it's an imperfect life. So imperfect came from that, and then mommers came from something my son and I would say when he was a baby.
Why athletic wear?
When I started after I had my son, I gained a lot of weight. I was nursing and I was, snapping back a little bit. And then when I stopped nursing, I gained a lot of weight. So I started like my fitness journey. And when I was working out, I was ordering kind of inexpensive material apparel, and it was really cheap, rolling down thin. And then I went the opposite way and started purchasing more expensive, which was great quality, but it was very expensive. And so I wanted to provide women with the best of both worlds, which, high quality, but affordable prices. So that's what I wanted to do for not just moms, but all women.
Talk about starting in the apparel industry. How did you get your start?
So I actually started out, it was kind of rocky starting out. When I started in 2018, it was like t-shirts and just like comfortable leggings wear just to see how things go. But I honestly hit the ground running. I didn't really do the proper research that I did, ended up doing so, or that I should have. And so it was rocky. It was a lot of money wasted and things like that. And then in 2019, well, mid 2018 into 2019, I took a step back. I started doing research about the industry, seeing how it was a growing industry, seeing the possibility of really bringing solutions to a lot of women who are probably looking for the same thing that I was. So, again, just doing a lot of research, getting samples, working with manufacturers, and all of that. And then I did a soft relaunch in 2019. So, starting out, it was very rocky, very rocky.
What is something that we don't know about the apparel industry as consumers that we should know?
One of the things I will say is it's a huge growing market. And there's a lot of companies out there that may provide the high quality apparel or the apparel overall. But what you should know is you should definitely pay closer attention to the prices. Again, that was one of the reasons why I started my business because you know some are, there may be some businesses that might be price gouging, and it may be for the same or similar items that you can find for a lesser price. So just kind of pay attention to that. I know a lot of people want the name and everything, the name brand items, which is cool, but just make sure you're paying attention at comparing those prices.
I want to talk about sports bras and the tops for
Mhm.
athletic apparel. I am an avid, I work out 6 days a week and have been for the last, I'm going to date myself, for over 50 years,
Oh,
literally.
wow. Yeah.
And so I love working out. I am a
Hmm.
gym rat.
Yeah.
So, and I hope I didn't offend anyone, say gym rat. Nowadays you say
Oh,
stuff and it's
no.
like, what? So, but
Yeah.
love it. I've always been heavily endowed in the top.
Mhm.
And back in the day, I would wear two sports bras. Talk about what's happening in that industry.
So I was in the same situation. Actually, I got a reduction in 2019. So I used to be the two bra wearing person. But that's so most of our apparel, Imperfect Moms apparel, the tops as well, it's compressed, it's thicker material holding everything in. And that's where it's starting to change. Like before, the size, and not to offend anyone, but the size two was the thing to be. And so they would only have the thin straps or not providing that full support. So now you're starting to see the apparel and the tops and the sports bras have thicker straps, higher support, covering everything. And that's where, when I choose what I'm putting onto my website and everything, I look at that because those are the things that I wear. Those are the things that I'm comfortable in, and a lot of my customers are comfortable in. So that's what you're starting to see now, more thicker and full support, because you're starting to see women of all sizes be all over, these magazines and things like that.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, someone is listening, and I know we'll say this again, but they're like, oh my gosh, let me go to the website. How do they connect? How do they purchase the items? Because literally, I'm like, let me stop the interview and go over there and purchase because I hear exactly what you're saying.
Yes. So yeah, when you visit the website, you can see different categories. It opens up to the shopping page. So you'll see different categories. You'll see sports bras and crop tops. You'll see just tops. And there's like full t-shirt, like full workout shirts that's good for working out. It's like the mesh material, but it's not really like too see-through or big holes or anything in it, but it is kind of mesh material, perfect for breathable and working out. So it's a full t-shirt. And then you have again those full thick strap, full support or high support sports bras. You have crop tops, long sleeves, short sleeves. All of that is available on the site. And you can just check by looking at top sports bra by the category.
Erica, there are so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why.
Are you talking about fitness wise or just overall?
However, you interpret the question.
Yes. So I would say I admire anything with Fenty. I was kind of surprised when Fenty by Rihanna moved into the sports industry, the athleisure and athletic industry. But I just admire how that is growing. Going from, the makeup and then skincare and now going into, or it was lingerie, now it's going into fitness and everything. So that type of, the way that is growing is amazing.
What is something you wish you knew before launching your business?
I wish I understood I guess I wish I understood like social media plays a huge part in the growth of businesses, especially with my business. That's what I've seen and have proven. I wish I knew how beneficial it was early on. It took me a while to understand that and utilize that free, at the time it was free, platform to really grow my brand. I should have took advantage of that early on because I think that it would have my business would have been farther along if I did.
And what advice would you give someone now in reference to social media? Would you recommend a specific platform?
I would say anything as far as like Instagram is, or anything with Meta is really good. And then TikTok is really good as well. Again, if I knew in 2020 how much TikTok would have helped me, I would have used that more. But Instagram has really proven to be beneficial for my business. So use those platforms, Instagram, TikTok, to promote your business because it'll really, really help your brand get out there more.
What is the best decision you've made as a leader?
When I took a step back and did a soft relaunch, that was the best decision I made as a CEO, as just when it comes to my business, it was the best decision. I thought that At first I was like, oh, this is going to fail and everything. So kind of beating myself up about it. But when I took a step back and did my research about the business and about the industry and really understanding, and did the soft relaunch, it's been successful ever since. It wasn't going to be this successful. It probably would have failed if I didn't do that.
Did you have any training or your degree? Is it around um advertising or marketing or in terms of manufacturing products?
Not at
Talk
all. So I do have a degree in business administration with an emphasis in healthcare management. Didn't really do anything with that. The business side of it did help me a little bit, but that was a long time ago, so a lot of stuff I did not remember before launching my business. So again, it was like me starting out new and learning things along the way. So I did not have any experience in marketing, advertisement, and manufacturing, none of that stuff. It's all learned along the way. And then when I did that step back, that's when I learned a good bit of it. But I do have mentors and people that I talk to all the time that have successful businesses that kind of provide me guidance along the way.
about vetting a mentor. How do you look for a mentor?
Um, so I've been lucky to actually grow up with it's kind of peer mentoring that I've been lucky with to grow up with some people who have done really well for themselves and really successful. So I knew them a long time, but I will say that I did joined an organization in Charlotte for women entrepreneurs and business owners, and just kind of going to those networking events and really getting to know a lot of those women. It just put me in the right place to meet good people, and then just kind of doing your research on them too. A lot of people can talk to you and talk a good game, but let's just see what the actions are. So for example, I had this one lady, she talked to me about how successful her fitness business was, and she just kind of like provides fitness equipments to a lot of the gyms and everything in the Charlotte area. And she was talking about how we can collab and she can introduce me to all these people. And then, being in the business world, you hear that a lot, but nothing, a lot of times nothing really happens out of it. She was actually practicing what she preached, and she's introduced me to a lot. Her business is doing well. So that's how you really find out who are those good connections, who are those good mentors, by seeing who practice what they preach.
And I tell you, Erica, that was a gem there because it is so true. When we talk about social media and we see people and they appear to be one way,
Hmm.
but when you really dig into their lives, they could be like just a masterpiece of mess,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And in the business world, and as an entrepreneur, it's lonely
Yeah,
and you're trying to find those gems. So thank you for sharing how you really
absolutely.
vet a mentor. We hear self-care is physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional. What's pulling you today? What's pulling your spirit? Which one and why?
I would say physical for sure is really playing a huge part. I wake up at a little bit after 4 a.m. every morning, and I go in. Um, I work out and I take care of my body the best I can, and that really helps me kick off my day. And I would also say mentally too. I that physical kind of goes into the mental, it helps with that mental, but I always make sure that I'm taking care of myself mentally. I listen to a lot of different podcasts, a lot of different books, and everything that kind of helps me drive that. I'm not a stranger to therapy, as need be. My son, he's not a stranger to it. Anything that can help that mental health is really good for me. So the physical and mental play a huge part. I will say that emotionally things can get a little challenging. Raising my son, I am constantly worried raising a black child, raising a black young man. So when things happen, crazy things happen in the world, that does weigh on me emotionally. And so I just try to find ways to make sure I'm thinking positive and being optimistic when it comes to emotionally and comes to raising my son.
Talk about mental wellness, motherhood, and
Mhm.
entrepreneurship.
It's it's a challenge. Um, so I think we touched on it prior to us getting on this call, but trying to manage both has been at times mentally and physically draining because you have to make time. I don't want to be one of those entrepreneurs that, you know, doesn't make time for my family, especially my son at this young age. So I do my best to try to balance both, and it has become a challenge to me. So I have to have a schedule. I have to have like things written down to make sure I try to get as much done for both my business as well as my son. And that is what has helped me a lot. Just having that schedule, having things written down, because if not, I would go crazy trying to balance both.
You said something really profound about balance.
Mhm.
How do you fill your cup as a wife, as a mother, an entrepreneur? You're working.
I am I'm still trying to get that on track. I'm gonna be honest. There are times that it's not going as planned. Again, like I schedule things out, I write things down, but there's time that it doesn't always go as planned. But one of the things that I learned in the last year is asking for help. A lot of times, I talked about imperfect, and women trying to be the perfect woman, trying to manage it all, trying to be the perfect wife, the perfect mom. And a lot of times, I don't know if it's fear to ask for help or if it's embarrassment to ask for help. I don't know what it is, but in the last year, I've learned to ask for help, especially since in the last 3 months, since I've been balancing more things on top of my business and everything. I've been asking for help because if not, then, you know, it's going to fall apart.
Speak to that mother. You
Mhm,
talked about, and thank you for being so authentic.
mhm.
And what I'm hearing in the media is about young women dealing with postpartum depression. Talk about that in
Mhm.
reference to you talked about the weight gain and being a new mom and just talk to that mother out
Yeah.
there.
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say postpartum depression, postpartum is very serious. And I want to not only talk to the mom, but also talk to those folks around the mom. So around like husbands, partners, all those people around, you have to, for one, be patient. You have to be able to identify when there's something wrong, but also to those moms, you have to find a way. I know it's hard, but you have to find a way to ask for help or find help. I don't care if, because I'll talk to you about me. I was in Charlotte. I didn't have anybody here other than my husband. Um, and it was just me and him, but he was working a lot. I didn't have a lot of family here. My family was in Charleston. I did have a cousin of mine who came up for like a week. Um, my mom came too early because my child was very late. So she had to go back to work. So I didn't have it. And there were times that I was breaking down. And I remember so specifically, my son was not a crier, but one day he was crying the entire day. And I cried and I cried and I cried because I couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And I know when a lot of women get into that situation, they panic and some of them don't know how to handle that. I took a step out on the porch and I left the door cracked so I can still make sure he's okay. But I went out there and I had to calm myself down. I had to breathe. I cried and everything. And it just so happened my husband just had got from work. And as soon as he walked in the door, he didn't ask me any questions or anything. I grabbed the keys and I walked out and I drove for an hour just to calm myself down, just to, so I wouldn't, not that I want to, but I wouldn't touch my child at that time. It just wasn't right for me to do that. And I will say working out has helped that. It helped that a lot after I had my son. That working out, that getting some of that stress off of me, going for walks and everything, that really helped. So not only did it help me physically, it helped me mentally, it helped me emotionally. So you got to find something that'll help you with all those areas so you can really fight that postpartum feeling.
I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not. They've inspired you so much. Who is that person? And what are you saying to that person, Erica?
My mom, my mom inspired me so much. Hope I don't get emotional. She was a single mom. It was 3 of us, and she worked extremely hard. And there's 2 things about her, among a lot of things, but there's 2 specific things about her that inspire me. She had a great work ethic. You know, she worked extremely hard, like I said, to raise her kids and to make sure we didn't miss a beat, you know. And we had a great childhood for the most part because of that. But I also learned another thing from her. I also learned that I do not want to struggle my entire life to make ends meet. I want to make sure that my kids don't have to struggle after me to make things meet. So, although I learned work ethic and how to be strong and how to make sure that my kids are fed and nothing skips a beat, I also want to make sure that I'm setting myself up and my family up for financial success. And also, I'm not older in age and still have to punch a clock, or you know what I mean? So it's like I learned a lot from her and I'm still learning from her to this day. I admire my mom so much. She's a strong, wonderful woman, a wonderful grandmother, and just I learned so much from her.
Say her name.
Her name is Joyce Phillips.
And we shout out to Joyce Phillips. Thank you for that. I want you to have an attitude of gratitude, which I can hear it coming out, but I want you to have a thank fest.
Mhm,
And I want you to thank situations, circumstances, and people.
mhm.
Have at it.
I want to again thank my mom. I already said all the reasons why. But I want to thank her and always being a listening ear whenever I need her. I want to thank my mentor, Dr. Carolyn Thicke. She has been my mentor since I was 10 years old. And I remember being a child that in elementary school, I would get in trouble. I would always seek attention because, again, my mom worked all the time. My father wasn't there. And I would just get in trouble at school over and over and over. And I'll never forget my principal at the time introduced me to Dr. Thicke. Her church was doing a mentorship program, like a big sister, big brother program. And at 10 years old, I remember they called me to the principal's office one of the many times, and they introduced me to Dr. Thicke. And for years, she would pick me up once a week. She would take me to the library, take me out of town, take me to do different things, introduce me to things I would never have seen if it wasn't for her. I got my first laptop because of her. I flew on the plane for the first time because of her. Um, Went to another state because of her. I mean, just all the things. When I was struggling to pay for college, she helped me. It was everything. She would always look out for me and my mom and my siblings. I cannot think until this day, she has not only been my mentor, but she's become a friend. And Chandler is like her grandson. That's my son name. She always looks out for him. So I cannot thank her or her husband and her sons. I can't thank them enough for being a family to me outside of my family and showing me the world, literally. Um, I want to thank, I have a cousin that always looks out for me and my family. If I need her, her name is Sean. If I need her, she's one call away. She will come up and help out. She was the one that came up when I first had my son. She was in the hospital with me. She helped. She stayed for a week and helped me and my husband, and I just want to thank her. I want to thank when it comes to my business, I want to thank my biggest supporters, Sierra Gaither. She is one of the young ladies that has been with me when Imperfect Mamas first started, and she's still by my side to this day. She supports me at events, vendor events. She supports me anywhere that my business, anywhere my business is, she's going to be right by my side. And all of my friends and family that have supported me and my business on this crazy journey. But the main people I want to thank is my husband, Laval Davis, and my son, Chandler Davis. They are my biggest supporters as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner, as a corporate world employee. They support me so much. And my husband does a lot for our son when I am not able to. He does a lot for our family when I am not able to. And he's just a great person. And my son can't be he's like the sweetest child. I just love them so much. And I want to thank them for always loving and supporting me and my crazy ideas and being by my side.
Wow, Erica, thank you so much for that. And you dropped some value bombs there in reference to just being a hybrid entrepreneur. You work full time
Mhm.
and you running your business. Talk to someone about that.
Yes, so I work for a Fortune 30 company. My position is strategic sourcing, which is a very demanding job. Um, and I tell you, my boss is probably one of the most flexible, nicest person. So I've been blessed there. But when I talk about my business and talk about work in the corporate world, you have to find a way to make sure that again, you're balancing and trying to make sure you're scheduling out how you do these things. Now, again, my job is demanding, but I also have some help and some flex there when it comes to my leadership and that. So there are times where I have to do stuff for my business and they are okay with that. But you have to find that if you're going to be working full time, if you're able to, but if you're going to be working full time and having your business, make sure it's something um, that is going to be helpful to you, that is going to be better, easier for you to balance. But I will say, my plan is not to stay in the corporate world forever. Not at all. I plan to get to the point, my business to the point that I can walk away from corporate world. And so if, I just want to say, I don't know if any women out there wants to stay in the corporate world forever and manage their business. But as far as for me and those women who are trying to walk away from the corporate world, just make sure you use that corporate job or that full-time job, whatever it is, use your full-time job to benefit you and set you up financially for later.
And that's great because when I was a hybrid entrepreneur, I would say my job was my investors.
Mhm.
So that's huge.
Absolutely.
Erica, I'm going to take a step back
Mhm.
because you talked about being a 10-year-old child
Yes.
and seeking attention.
Mhm.
I'm seeing today, unlike I have in years, children are so taxed, so troubled, so angry. And you talked about how the mentor that's still in your life, which is so
Yeah.
profound that you're
Mhm.
thanking, it seems like it was just that attention, that
Mhm.
nurturing. Speak to that. It could be a mother, it could be a grandmother, it could
Yeah.
be a father, that custodial parent
Yep.
that's dealing with a troubled child.
Mhm.
What advice would you give them?
Absolutely. So, I would say with my mom, because of her being a single mom and her working a lot, I didn't have, like, a lot of structure. I didn't have, like, a set schedule to do when I get home from school, you do your homework, I just did it, and there was no structure. So without that structure, I just acted out. My mentor, not only did she provide attention or comfort, she also provide structure. A lot of times when kids are acting out, um, they're looking for not only the attention, but they're looking for times a lot of structure, and that's what helped me. Um, and also, I would also say to the parents of the struggling child, listen to your child sometimes. Um, Sometimes we our child, like, they're acting out and everything, and we don't really listen to them and understand why they're acting out. A lot of these kids, especially these days, they were like here before or something. They will tell you exactly what's going on, and you have to sometimes listen to them. You have to be able to take a hint, and don't be afraid to figure out how you can get help from others, like even if it's professional wise, to help that child. So I would say structure is a big thing. Asking for help is a big thing, and listening to your child. I'm going to get personal really quick. So, one of my nephews, um, he kind of, act out a little bit, and so he stayed with his dad for a bit. His dad is very structured, right? That right there, no problem sis. It's like they want that structure. Like at that age, younger kids, they 9, 10, 8, 7, they want that structure. Even though some of them like, oh God, this is annoying. They want that structure. They understand the structure. It helps guide them through their day. It helps control their behavior and everything. So that right there is a huge way to help a child that might be troubled.
What do you need right now that you don't have to move the business forward?
I would say one of the biggest struggles, because my business is growing really fast, especially year to date, is making sure I have all the inventory of the popular items on hand. So, of course, making sure I have the financials to do that, as well as everyday operating expenses. So, I would say that's the biggest thing, just making sure that I have whatever the customer loves and what they need on hand. And sometimes, um, as a business owner, especially if you are a product business owner, you can run into struggles with that, making sure that you have enough product, because sometimes you don't know if the customers are going to like this. Like, I'll drop something and it'll sell in like 5 seconds, and you wouldn't think that it's going to sell. And it's like, oh, wait, I need more. So, making sure you have enough financials to cover enough inventory on hand, and making sure you have um, that relationship with in my case, my partners or my manufacturers, to crank it out really quick. So that's one thing that I'm working on, and that I've improved on a lot year to date.
Speaking of finances,
Mhm.
speaking of finances, how did you finance your business?
It was starting out, it was a lot of me, like CEO investments, I guess, me just kind of invested into my business. So, my savings and everything, I am really good with personal financials. Like, I'm really good with that. I applaud myself on that. So, I did have a lot of my own personal money to kick off my business. But along the way, there's been grants. There's been support from that same mentor I talked about earlier. Those are some of the ways that I have financed my business.
Talk to a younger Erica. What
Mhm.
advice would you give to a younger you?
I I would say I will probably tell myself that there's always going to be opportunity for growth. There's always going to be opportunity for changing yourself. So, I talked about my behavior as a 10-year-old. I also had some hiccups even as a teenager, not really at home, but just at school. And I was told a couple of times that because of my behavior and because of the way that I was acting, I would never make it very far. And that kind of held me down a little bit mentally. It kind of messed with me in my mental and everything. But just having that support and love around me, especially from my mentor, my cousins and things, and my mom, just it just helped me realize that this is not the end. um People might see me as one way, but then this isn't it for you. There's so much more you can do. You don't have to act this way. You can really grow and be a better person. It's so funny because somebody told me, I was in Charleston doing something, I can't remember, but I saw this lady from, I haven't seen her in years, and her exact words were, "Wow, you are sure different from the Erica I knew a long time ago." And she was like, "I'm so proud of you," and things like that. And it's like, it's interesting to me that I was that person back then that got in trouble and acting out and just acting crazy and everything, and how much I have changed. But it helped me be prepared to be a mentor for younger women and my nieces and things like that, for my son and everything, to let them know that what you do today, is not going to define you in the future, but still kind of work on yourself. It's going to change, it's going to grow. Don't let people label you. You're going to grow and you're going to change.
And that mindset is really profound. It doesn't matter what
Mhm,
others say about you, it only
mhm,
matters what you say about you. So, reframing
mhm.
that mindset is very powerful. And we are so proud of you, Erica. Thanks for
Thank you.
being so authentic and sharing your story.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. Let's talk about legacy. When it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a great person, a hard worker. I want to be remembered as a good mom, a good wife, a good friend. One of the things that all my friends always talk about, even if we're at an event and they do a toast to me, or if it's something for my birthday or anything like that, one of the things they always say is, if when Erica moves up, she takes us with her. And that is something that I love to hear, because when I worked in my corporate world, I worked at another company before, and I held a lot of positions at that company. And if there's somebody that I saw a lot of potential in, I would nurture them, I would grow them, I would teach them, and I would make sure that I would get them promoted. And that's just something that I would do, whether it's under me or is in a different department. I will find ways how to get that person promoted, get them in the right room so they can grow. And I'm still doing that. I'm still doing that in this new corporate world. And that is something that a lot of my friends always talk to me about. Like, anytime that I'm moving up, whether it's personally or in the business world, I always bring them with me.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Always doing a hand up and not necessarily a handout.
Exactly.
Is there a social cause tied to your business?
Um, no, not right now. So no, not really.
That's okay. That's
Mhm.
okay. The best advice you were ever given.
The best advice, I'm gonna relate this to my business. My friend Colette, the best advice she gave me as a CEO was, I need to outsource things that I am not able to do. So early on, I was trying to do bookkeeping. I was trying to operations, uh, just everything when it comes to the business. I was trying to do it by myself, and I was messing up a lot. So she was like, there's certain things that, I didn't understand how to do, like the taxes and all that stuff. She was like, Erica, you need to start outsourcing. And so when she told me that, like 3 years ago, that's when I really started doing it. And thank goodness, I've been like outsourcing certain things and getting the help I need. And it's been helping my business a lot.
What is the most costly lesson you've learned in life or business?
Mm. Um, the most costly lesson I've learned, especially with my business, is not doing my proper research when it comes to running a business. I wasted all that money I told you early on that I saved up. I wa I wasted a lot of money because I didn't do the proper research and understanding the industry and understanding materials and manufacturers and things like that. So I wasted a lot of money not doing my proper research of my industry. So if I had to give somebody any advice out there before you dive into running the business and before investing your money, make sure you do your research and understand what you're getting into so you can, save yourself in the end.
If you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Oh, that's tough. um, wow. I guess I would probably whew, this is a difficult one. Um, I guess I will probably ask myself, what is the biggest accomplishment that I've ever done in life? Um, and I would say to myself, one of or was the proudest thing that I've ever done, other than being a mom, of course. I would say my biggest accomplishment and one of my proudest moments is being a veteran. I was in the military uh, for 8 years, and I remember how great I felt after I joined. I did sign up. I wouldn't suggest this if there's any young folks out there listening, but I did sign up without telling my mom. But the military helped me so much as a person, helped me with those behavior things that I was telling you about. It helped me with the structure. It helped me to be mature, to be a leader, to be even more hardworking. I was always a hard worker, but it helped me a lot. And it just helped me meet so many amazing people. And just to be able to accomplish even just surviving boot camp, being able to accomplish that, I'm very, very proud to be a veteran.
And we are so proud that you are a veteran and you serve. So thank you again for that.
Thank you.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Rapid Round of Fun. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Rapid Round of Fun?
Whew, yes, ma'am.
Your ideal car,
Ooh, a G wagon,
your favorite comfort food,
rice,
your favorite color,
red,
what food you eat every week, no matter what.
chicken,
You relax doing what?
pass. I can't think.
The last movie you saw,
The Super Mario Brothers movie,
your favorite singer or rapper,
Jay Z.
your favorite dance song,
My favorite dance song, um, Cupid Shuffle.
workout, or hit the couch.
Workout.
Erica Davis, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you, to do business with you. Feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Perfect. Yes. So you can visit my website at www.imperfectmommers.com. And then my Instagram for my business, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are all at Imperfect Mommers. And then my personal Instagram is I'm underscore Erica D. So those are where you can find me.
Thank you, Erica. That's a wrap.
Thank you.